a special broadcast, and a lot of people are sad going on. I got some theories. Back. Where is? I have a big thing of. Well, that's the wrong angle. I have a big thing of chicken broth that I use to put the thing on. Oh, it's way over there. All right. That sits on there. Okay. First of all, Israel loves manipulating the narrative. So Israel's not going to give up 4chan. Why would they? That doesn't make any sense. And I was trying to think, well, what is going on? If some moderators and federal agents had been exposed, well, maybe they're trying to replace those people with somebody else, but I'm not sure why that would matter either. Now, if you don't know this, I used to run my own servers. I had a whole 42U rack at Cogent Co., which cost me like $1,500 a month. So I know what it's like to run servers, and I know what it's like to do a website migration from one computer system to another computer system. And since 4chan was around 2008-ish, it's been 16 years, and I run a copy of 4chan's early software, VenChan, which was TinyChan, and at my howtogetrich.com. And it runs on PHP, and it's pretty robust, and there's lots of caching. And caching is when you ask the website for information, it serves you information. And 4chan is mostly a static website until a new comment is added, and then it builds a new cache, and then it shows that cache. So for every 1,000 views, it might be the same commentary with no new commentary. And then when a new person makes a commentary, it makes another image of that page, and then that page is shown to the next 1,000 people who don't make any contribution. Instead of it redrawing the page every time a user comes there. So caching is less database intensive, and you can just keep the cache in memory. You don't even have to go to the hard drive to look for the cache. So what I think is going on is hello Tetrahedricon, Raisin, and Caucasian George. What I think is going on is a hardware migration. And I suspect that 4chan has been running on maybe 10 servers. 10, decent Intel-based, 4-processor, 20-core servers with 64 RAM per CPU, 6 times 4, 120. 64 gigabytes of RAM times 4 per machine. 6 times 4 is 24. So 240 gigabytes per server. And so it's been doing the job. And I think they're probably doing a systems upgrade. They probably bought some new servers. God forbid you're putting it on the fucking cloud, which is extremely expensive. So I think they're probably bought new hardware, and they're just like, all right, we're going to have to shut it down for some hours and then copy all these photos from this server here and move all those photos to this server. And then we'll go live with the old. So like, stop it, pause the database, shut down the web services, migrate that database to the new server, check all your connections. Oh, it's working, boss. It's working good. Okay. The code base is easy, the stuff that writes the pages. Now, move all the cache files to the new server. Move all the images over to the new server. They might even have written new code, and all the images have to go into some type of more elaborate image archiving system, image caching system. The images chew up the most database space. Yeah. Also, let's remember that for the most part, if we're going to be logical about this, 4chan is a government-run honeypot pretending to be owned by a Japanese guy and 25% owned by Disney. That's the public story. But you know, if you kind of see all that bandwidth that they're chewing up, that could be like 100,000 a month in bandwidth, and they're not bringing in 1.2 million a year just to cover the cost. So it's a juicy government honeypot, and why would they ever give that up? And like, let's have some empathy for the FBI people today who are just twiddling their thumbs. You know, they miss 4chan too. It is a information bonanza. It's also, think about artificial intelligence. Why would they get rid of it when you can train large language models on all these conversations? So don't worry. I don't think it's going anywhere. I was just talking to Jessica. She's like, I feel like I lost a friend. A friend has died. I feel like crying. I'm like, don't worry, Jessica. Count on the Jews of Israel and their greed to manipulate people. There's no way Israel is going to give up the ability to manipulate the narrative. They've been doing it for 16 years, and they're going to do it for another 16 years. It's in their blood. They eat, sleep, and breathe manipulation and subversion. It's their raison d'entre, their reason for being. They will never give it up. Never, never, never. Instead of fight, 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 Israel's motive is manipulate, manipulate, manipulate. So it's coming back, and it's going to be stronger. And if they don't bring it back, which I can't even foresee that even transpiring, I'll open my own 4chan. I'll rent a nice server and bring it back. Not all of 4chan, but most of it. I won't do the pornography, but I'll do it yourself, X, biz, autos, you know, whatever people say they want. And then, you know, anyways, it is an expensive thing. So without the money, I wouldn't be able to make it too large, but I'm willing to do it. I've been using that software for like 5 years. So I'm pretty knowledgeable about the software it takes to run 4chan, which is written in PHP. So these are my ideas, that 4chan's coming back. It's most likely a hardware migration. And they could be migrating to servers not at the premises where the old servers are. We don't know. And if you're going from one cluster of servers, physical computers, to another physical cluster at a different location, well, then you have the network connection in between that could be the bottleneck. And we're talking, who knows how many terabytes of images that they're moving over. We just don't know what they're doing. We don't know. We really just don't know. I think the most comforting thought is, would Israel give up their ability to manipulate the narrative after 16 years? There's 40 million people at 4chan every month. There's 220,000 people there at any one moment. Why would you ever give up the ability to manipulate all that brain space, all that mental real estate space? It's fertile soil for plowing and planting seeds. They're not giving it up. My favorite board is politically incorrect. My second favorite board is, well, for smiles, it's Biz. Watching all the people crying, the tears, the Schadenfreude. my favorite Biz, when Bitcoin had not reached $100,000, and it was 84,000. And there's a psychologist, the bear. He's like, is 85,000 in the room with us right now? Oh, because it had not reached 85,000. It'd be like saying, okay, so you're really big into Bitcoin, are you? Is 1 million Bitcoin in the room with us right now? Oh, and then just so much. The word sarcasm is to tear flesh. And there's so much sarcasm and flesh tearing at Biz. When people lose money, people are vicious in there. They're like, you should have bought Chainlink. Winning. You know, they got the martini glass and the monocle. Yeah, I love bragging. Oh, and I love failure. I love it when other people are making fun of other people's failure. It's just the best. It's the best. I first started using 4chan in 2009-ish. It was like October 2009. Oh. X is pretty good for time travel stories, alien stories. Do it yourself is great for help. You got a problem at home trying to fix something, just go into do it yourself and say, how do I do this? I did some epic trolling at do it yourself. I wanted to make some tables out of pallets, and I purposely trolled do it yourself. I was going to make a table and be really proud of it, but when you first saw the table, you'd be like, that is the worst. That is the most ugly looking table I have ever seen. So I made a table out of a pallet, and every leg was a little bit different. It had like angle braces, but all the angles were different. Nothing was symmetrical. It was the ugliest looking table. But I presented it to it like, it was like a proud father with a kid like cross-eyed and missing a finger. Like, oh, my baby's beautiful. But clearly my baby was ugly. And then people were just losing their mind. I don't know how I got famous. Well, probably running for president. I'll tell you some tricks you can do at 4chan. And I got pretty good at this trick. So, to ban a person takes a lot to ban somebody, because the moderators, if they start banning just people for innocent behavior, they'll probably get in trouble. So, as running for president, I would look at a thread that had been at like 380, but it was still live. So that baby's going to be turned off right away. So I would go in there and post something sensational, something controversial related to the topic, and then a picture of one of my slogans running for president. And they often would shut the thread down, and I would be the last posting. So I got to have the last word. And I think they were benevolent in helping me. And you want to have the last word, because then people who work at news organizations, CNN, ABC, CBS, NBC, MSNBC, Fox News, New York Times, Washington Post, all of them, all the mainstream people hire people to go onto 4chan archives to see what people were talking about over the evening and yesterday. And then they read that thread. And so they go to the most commented thread, something that goes to the limit at 380, because that must be a really good discussion. So then the last person to say something would be me. I also try to be the first person, first post, best post. And and I try to have a very good comment about OP, original posters comments. And sometimes I insert a photo if it's appropriate. Sometimes I answer the question and then pose another question. So those are kind of some of my secrets for injecting myself into the conversation. Also, being a real politician, it's a great place to have millions of people become aware of what it is you're offering. In marketing, like Madison Avenue, like if Ford wants to sell a new truck, they're going to say, hey, advertising companies in New York City, Madison Avenue, where the big people are, like was it Saatchi and other it's like the world of Mad Men. Ford will say, listen, I got a $50 million ad spend. Who can make me some creative ads and sell some trucks? And they will say to 5 people, give me an idea of some creativity. You put your big brain on it. And if we like your presentation, we'll hire you. And then when they spend that 50 million, let's say Saatchi gets the job, Saatchi gets 10% of that 50 million. So they get $5 million for that creative that won them the gig. So 80% of the advertising spend is in awareness campaigns. And I'm going to teach you, my friend took a master's degree. He was getting a master's degree at Stanford, and he gave me his advertising book. And so in advertising, it's called awareness, comprehension, conviction, desire, action. Action is buying the Ford truck, but you can't take action of buying the truck until you know it exists. So awareness campaigns, awareness. Did you know Ford now has a truck with 6 doors? Oh, I didn't know that. Awareness, comprehension. Do you know what a truck with 6 doors looks like? Awareness, comprehension. Okay, here's what it looks like. Conviction. Do you need a truck with 6 doors? Because most contractors do. Awareness, comprehension, conviction. Desire. Would you like to have a truck with 6 doors? Desire. If you do, get one today at your local Ford dealer. So they walk you through all that in an advertisement. And so for me, as a grassroots politician with next to zero money, the only way I can get awareness is at Politically Incorrect, by inserting myself into the conversation. You know, other politicians could easily spend time at 4chan. And they're like, oh, I'm not going to hang out with people who use the N-word and Nazis. But they overlook that it is the place where the news gets its news. And I also describe it as a bar where all the spies of the world go there for a drink. And they spend hours there planting their seeds, watering their crops, and harvesting the fruits of their disinformation. So 4chan is the preeminent intellectual hangout globally. And then, so if you're a politician and you want to create a name for yourself, you too can go there and do everything I've been doing. Everybody knows about 4chan. And have you noticed all these like mainstream media writers? They're like, well, I didn't want to mention it, but I've been doing a 3-year investigation into the culture called 4chan. Politically Incorrect. They're all fucking experts when they dump their long-term investigative journalistic article. You know what I'm saying is true. How many people from CNN are dropping the N-word at 4chan? Well, River of Hate, I'll bet you $1. It's working by noon Pacific time tomorrow. You want to take that bet? I got Cashapp. Do you got Cashapp? Put your money where your big mouth is. A whole $1. Take some risks in life. Quit hiding behind your moniker there. I'm growing my mustache back. Going for Officer Lambright. Fireman Lambright. I just made some hot milk. I'm not being hostile. I mean, if you don't want to bet $1, just say so. You don't have to make excuses. Try and gaslight everybody. Take a deep breath. It's not the end of the world. Well, if you don't want to place a bet, then you're not very convinced. Yeah, just $1 bet. You don't have much to lose. Well, maybe you do. I'm going to give you a timeout, 30 minutes, so you can think about that bet, River. Well, there's really no news. I mean, like, I have no idea what's happening in the world. God forbid we have to use mainstream media to find out anything. I started working on a hat, on a merchandise today. Here's where I'm a little torn. I could definitely offer something, but I would prefer to send out autographed merchandise. But if I do that, then I've got to put it in a box, make a label, and ship it. So that's a lot of work for me. Maybe I'll just offer an autograph service for people. After they buy it, they can mail it to me and I'll autograph it or something. And I also thought, well, some of the people might not want me to have their home address or their mailing address. So they might feel more comfortable ordering it from a make-on-demand service. So Jessica and I are going to come up with some things that we think might be acceptable from the marketplace and then offer them. Oh. All right, let's call it a night. I don't have anything to talk about. Zilch. And it's 10 o'clock. So everybody, thanks for tuning in. Have a good night. Bye-bye.